unlike any other country in the world, no matter how difficult the election may be, we're a country that is ruled by laws, not by men or women. There's no better example of that than an election that took place a few years ago, when the person who lost got more votes than the person who won. You remember that? Gore versus Bush. But the reason I'm telling you that story is that we had all the problems in Florida, with hanging Chad and all that kind of stuff. We went to the Supreme Court in a very hotly contested Supreme Court decision, decided by a 5-4 vote. The Supreme Court decided that George Bush was going to be president. Now, any other country in the world that had gone through that, remember what I just said. The person who lost got more votes than the person who won. And we had all the problems in Florida. In America, there wasn't a window broken. There were no demonstrations, no riots, no tires burned. When, as much as it was difficult for a lot of us, when the Supreme Court made that decision, we knew who our president was. That's what America's all about. And I think all of us should be thankful that we have Republicans willing to participate with us, right? But having said that, I want to spend just a few minutes talking about where we were, where we are, and where we're going to go. We have to acknowledge that the years of the Bush administration were very bad for Nevada and our country. Remember when he took office, we'd had 4 years of surpluses. In fact, we were being criticized in Congress, along with President Clinton, for retiring the debt too quickly. Remember that? When George Bush took office, Bill Clinton had created 24 million jobs in his 8 years. But that changed quickly. Remember, President Bush wanted to privatize Social Security? Remember that? And everybody thought he would accomplish it. But I was one of the first to speak out against that, and we stopped him. I'm so glad we did. We had all these huge tax cuts. Not a single one of them paid for. Remember, during the Clinton years, that we had that budget vote. It was so important. Why? Because it created something called pay-as-you-go budgeting, where we paid for everything. We could not, and unless it was an emergency, we could not do any deficit spending. And that's why we were able to create those large surpluses. Well, first thing that Bush did with the Republican Congress is get rid of pay-go. So they went into a system where all those huge tax cuts they gave everybody, they didn't pay for them. The war of choice in Iraq wasn't paid for. That war alone cost us $1 trillion. And it was very difficult. I didn't like Saddam Hussein. I thought he was a bad person. I thought he was on his way out. Johns Hopkins University has stated in their studies that 1 million Iraqis have been killed in that war. Well, let's say they're wrong. Only 500,000. That was a war of choice costing us $1 million. All unpaid for. So let's find out where we are now. The month that Barack Obama was elected president, we lost 800,000 jobs in America. 800,000. In December of that year, I met with my little leadership team. Durbin of Illinois, Schumer of New York, Murray of Washington. We sat down with 5 economists, 2 from prior Democratic administrations, 2 from prior Republican administrations. And the 5th person we met with was Mark Zandi, John McCain's chief economic advisor. With one voice, those 5 famous economists told us the only money left in the world is in Washington, and you better spend a lot of it or we're going to have a worldwide depression. Well, we did that. We avoided a worldwide depression. That is little comfort, little solace to people who have lost their homes, lost their jobs, are afraid they're going to lose their homes, or afraid they're going to lose their jobs. But we did that. And right now, things are starting to turn around. Are they perfect? Of course they're not. Are they good? Barely. But things are going to get better. I was happy that announce recently that we've had a number of major projects that are going to be right here. We have a Chinese company that's going to create a windmill factory for generating wind energy in Clark County. That will produce more than 1,000 jobs. We have the big project in Mesquite that they decided not to do the power plant with coal. They're going to do solar and natural gas, creating 1,000 high-paying union jobs. We know that going on in El Dorado Valley, I was there on Monday, midway between Searchlight and Railroad Pass. It's a marvel to see. They are placing in the ground there 1 million solar panels. They'll have them completed in probably January or February next year. Enough to electrify 45,000 homes. So we're doing some good things. We're moving into a green energy economy here to supplant our mining and our tourism. But the best part of all this is what's happening now, because of the agreement between NV Energy, LS Power, and WAPA, Western Area Power Administration. We are the first part of the smart grid. We hear a lot about the smart grid. We are part of it. For the first time in the history of this great state, we're going to be able to transmit electricity from the north and south. What does that mean? It means Nevada will be energy independent within 3 years. And then we'll start selling energy. A lot of people are going to talk tonight. I'm going to take more time to catch an early plane in the morning. But I do want to talk about health care. Some of you heard me talk a little bit about it when I was here a day or two ago. I want to talk about it a little more. Picture in your mind 2008. 750,000 people filed for personal bankruptcy that year. Over 70% of the people filed for bankruptcy in that year did so because of health care costs. But listen to this. More than 80% of the 70% that filed for bankruptcy because of health care costs had health insurance. The insurance company has been running a scam, folks. You think you're in great shape because you have your health insurance. It's fine until you get sick or hurt. And then they walk away from you. And that's why those hundreds of thousands of people filed for bankruptcy in 2008. And it got worse in 2009. We just don't have those statistics. America should not be a country where people have to file bankruptcy if they get sick or hurt. We're the only industrialized nation in the world that getting health care is a privilege, not a right. Having the ability to go to a doctor or hospital when you're sick shouldn't be a privilege, it should be a right. Right?
Right.
So, all the people you hear about, oh, this health care bill is going to cost so much, how can we afford it? Well, my hand isn't big enough to write all of what I like to say. But I will tell you this. The first 10 years of our bill. Now remember, there's a big fight going on in Las Vegas. Botha versus Holyfield. And we have one of the famous judges here, right here, CJ. Now, in that fight, they have a referee. Why is a referee there? To make sure it's a fair fight. To settle all disputes. We, many years ago, set up in Washington so that there would be no cheating by Democrats or Republicans or the White House, a nonpartisan group called the Congressional Budget Office. It's the referee. They determine what's happening with money in Washington. And what they've told us after we passed our bill is that the first 10 years, we will save $142 billion. We'll reduce the debt by $142 billion. But the best comes in the second 10 years. We reduced the debt by $1.3 trillion because of our health care bill. We have immediate deliverables. I dare the John McCains of the world and all the other Republicans, including Jim Gibbons, who are saying we're going to repeal this bill. Listen to this. Right now, people in Nevada, small businesses, many of whom are right here, are eligible now for health care for the first time in their businesses. They haven't had health care in the past, not because they're cheap or mean. They can't afford it. now they will have a subsidy of 35 to 50% of the cost of that insurance. Pretty good deal, huh? 24,000 businesses better. In addition to that, we have a few people here with no hair and white hair who are Medicare. No longer are we going to have the donut hole. It's gone. If your family's struggling to make sure your kids are okay, young men and women are getting married later in life now. The law in America today is now children can stay in your policy until they're 26 years old. At this dinner tonight, I've had 2 people come to me and say thank you for health care because I have a child with a pre-existing disability. Doesn't matter anymore. No one can deny that child their ability to be insured because of a pre-existing disability, whether it could be diabetes or something else. So we have a lot of good things in this legislation, and it's going to get better as time goes on. Everyone in America is going to have my insurance, the same as someone else for the Bureau of Land Management, the FBI. That is, you're going to be part of an exchange. And each year, when we get these set up, they'll be set up in about 2.5 years, you will be able to go, and, as I do, every year decide what insurance you want. There'll be one an expensive policy, one that isn't so expensive. You'll have a choice. You'll have the same benefits as I have. That's what our exchanges are all about. So healthcare is good for our country. It is one of the best things we've done for our country. It's the first thing we've done that affects everybody. It extends the life of Medicare for 9 years. So let me close by saying this. I so appreciate everyone being here tonight. As everyone knows, I'm a proud Democrat. As everyone knows, I need your help. People talk a lot about rural Nevada. I am rural Nevada, folks. I was born and raised in rural Nevada. I don't know anyone holding statewide office in recent years that's been from rural Nevada. My home is in rural Nevada. I know what rural America is all about. I know what rural Nevada is all about because I've lived it. I love being here. I love representing you. I need your help. Thank you very much.